Cloud Cowboys right again. Can I get a yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I'm Hunter.
This is Waylon.
And we are
the
Cloud Cowboys. Back with more Salesforce questions for you. Again, thank you so much for submitting questions. We had a lot of engagement on the first video. We are also, we got a bigger range here now. We're not riding the same horse again like we were last time. Got a little bit of space. So we're upgrading. Appreciate the attention that we're getting. We're gonna jump right into this. We are going to go first question, and I got some feedback. People wanted us to use their first name at least so they got credit for their question. Totally understand, so we're gonna do that. First question comes from Isaac. Isaac wanted to know, please explain loops in Flow Builder and when to use them. Waylon, Kelley, what you got?
Yeah, it's a great question. So anytime you are in a flow and you need to process multiple records, that's when you use loops. So I have a couple examples of this. So at Kelley Austin, we built our project management system inside of Salesforce. And so we have projects. Under projects, we have user stories, and under user stories, we have time logs. So we needed to roll up anytime someone logs time on a story, we needed the total number of billed hours on the user story and on the project. So how do you do that? A couple of ways. You can use roll-up summaries, but for this example, we're going to use flows. So within the flow, anytime someone saves the time log, we need to get all of the time logs and then loop through them. So how do you do that? So first you get all the time logs for a given story. So you query all the time logs. It goes into a collection. That collection goes into a loop, and then it loops through, summarizes the total time spent, and then you do the same thing for the project. You get all of this, you query all of the time logs for that project, put them into a loop through them, and then at the end, you have the total amount of hours billed at the project level and at the story level, and then you just do an update to the project and the story. So that's one example of summarizing data using loops. One more example for this is if you need to update all, say, the contacts under an account. Say you change a field on the account and you need to update all of the contacts under that. You would do that within a loop. You would do a record triggered flow on the account. You would query for all the contacts, put them into a loop, add an assignment for an update, and then you would never update all of those records inside the loop. You actually use assignments, assign them to collections, and you do one mass update on all of those contacts outside of the loop. It's a no-no to put it inside the loop. So those are two examples of how loops are used in Flow Builder.
So if we didn't have that loop functionality in Flow, or before Flow was a thing, what was the option, right? What is this replacing? What's the functionality that now it's better because we have it?
Yeah, so you really would have to go, anytime you needed to do this, it depends on how it goes. You could have gone, before Process Builder could do it a little bit, but not completely. But really you would have to go to Apex, right? This replaces your need to go to Apex.
Awesome. So next question we've got from Jennifer. Jennifer asked, what can actually be done with Einstein Sales and Service GPT right now? So if you went to Dreamforce, watched any of the videos, anything like that, right? AI is all the rage. Salesforce is at the forefront of those things. Introduced Einstein 1 at Dreamforce, all of those good things. And the features for these different products are starting to be rolled out. A lot of them got rolled out earlier this year, mid this year. More are going to continue to happen as we get into Salesforce's FY25 starting next year as well. But we do have a few really cool things that should be generally available by the time that you're watching this video. I'm going to talk about Sales and Service GPT today, but then we've got other stuff, Flow GPT, Marketing GPT. Maybe on later episodes we'll get into that. So let's talk Sales GPT first, all right? So we've got 3 features that are probably GA by the time you watch this. We've got sales emails. So what this is going to do is you can go to a contact or a lead in Salesforce. You can use that email functionality from right there within Salesforce. There's about 7 to 8 prompts they're adding them to, 7 to 8 prompts that you can say, I want to, re-engage this lead, or this is a first time a cold email, something like that, right? You choose a prompt, and then it will use the data in the CRM right there with the previous language learning model knowledge that's been used to then give you an email. So here's your starting point, right? Where you don't have to sit there and think for 5 minutes, how am I gonna write this? What should I say, right? You can just select a prompt and it will give it for you. Then you can go in and kind of add your flair, change it, whatever you want to do there.
Do you have to know the prompt that you're putting, or can you save the prompts? Is that a thing?
So there's a limited selection of prompts that you can give it for now.
Okay.
Assuming later on there's going to be specific prompts that you can ask, and it will help. Right now it is a subset of prompts that you can ask.
Got it.
Sales Assistant is the new one. So this is going to be on the right-hand sidebar of your opportunities, and that Sales Assistant is meant to do exactly kind of what it sounds like. It keeps kind of running tab, a summary of what's gone on in the opportunity, and kind of summarizes that. Great for managers to be able to go in and look at an opportunity, get their high-level information, knock my hat a little bit, and then also that Sales Assistant is able to do things like recommend additional features or additional functionality, right? Do you want to add this contact to the account, right? It's pulling in detail from your email and from the opportunity, that kind of thing. Really cool. Last one is a functionality of Einstein Conversation Insights, okay? Einstein Conversation Insights, that tool, if you aren't familiar, allows you to insert video recordings, call recordings, and it's going to give you analysis, look for keywords, call coaching, that type of thing. And now off of that, we've got call summaries, which you go through an hour-long call, right? And instead of you having to go back and watch, what was I talking about? What did we accomplish? What were the follow-up steps? That call summary generation does all of that for you. Here's next steps, and you mentioned on the call that you've got that you're going to follow up on Wednesday. Do you want to schedule a task to follow up on Wednesday with this contact? Boom.
That's all in there.
Right? All in there, right?
It also gives coaching, right? Like it tells you, hey, you're talking too much on a sales call or something like that.
That's right. Yep. That's ECI functionality. We've got a lot of our customers upgrading to Sales Cloud Unlimited Edition now, where they start to get those things. They're adding in connectors. Really cool functionality coming out. So then let's talk Service GPT. So we've got service replies, right? So that's where you're talking back and forth with the customer over customer support. In that right-hand panel, it will start generating potential replies for you based on the conversation that you're having and knowledge that already lives in the CRM, right? So it can read those knowledge articles, things like that. All right, Bandana didn't want to make it for all of episode 2, so it's getting shed. We're getting a little cooler in here. So we've got those service replies, which is really cool. Still has manual interaction there. It's not an auto response. You have to say if you want to use it, but it'll get you started. And instead of having to go look something up, it might pull data in for you.
Makes sense.
Then we got work summaries. Similar to call summaries, you go through a chat or handling a case. You can generate a full summary. Here's what happened. Here was the resolution. All of that information right there. Time saving. Boom. You don't have to go through all of that information to figure it out. And then the last one we have is knowledge article generation. So you have a conversation back and forth with a customer. The system doesn't see that we have a knowledge article that's talking about that solution. It can generate that knowledge article for you. You can say, hey, this is a new thing. We just talked about it. I want other people in the org to now know that that is how we solved this. I want to generate it, or it can update it. Hey, this is different. Our knowledge article says this. We changed it. We went through this with the customer. I want you to update that knowledge article. And a lot of that is part of the generative part of AI because it's doing it for you.
Which is really cool because keeping knowledge articles up to date all the time, it's hard to do. It's hard to keep up to date.
And extremely important, right?
That's
if
awesome.
You've got outdated knowledge articles, that's when customers start getting frustrated,
that's
right?
Cool.
All right, so Jennifer, hopefully that helps answer your question. Again, a lot of new features coming out. We'll hit some more on future episodes. Those are kind of the 6 between Sales and Service GPT that are most readily available in the new generative stuff. Cool? All right, let's go to our last question. Thanks for hanging in here with us. Rob wants to know, so when we previously talked on the first episode about reducing clicks, manual data entry as we progress from record to record, right? We talked about that with using screen flows and that type of thing, Lightning Web Components. He wants to know, how do we go about actually determining the eventual solution that we're going to build for those things? And what do we use to come up with those details so then we can go solve for the reduced clicks and manual entry, right? What's our process?
Yeah, so I've done this for a large insurance group who it was very taxing for them to go through a process. And so what we did is we start with just Lucidchart or a flow charting tool, any flow charting tool, and map out every single step. Every detail gets mapped into a Lucidchart. That allows us to see it on the screen, understand it, and then we record them going through it to see how long it takes, right? So you have it mapped on a Lucid screen, you've recorded how long it takes, and you can count. You know, this took 30 seconds to process and it took 25 clicks. So then you take that and then we use Lucidchart a lot to redesign the model. So you redesign the model, you may throw in a screen flow to make it faster. You may throw in a Lightning Web component so that you can create multiple records at once really easily. You redesign that in a screen flow, and I like to count the clicks in not a screen flow, I'm sorry, in a Lucidchart. I like to count the clicks and see, are we reducing the number of clicks overall? Once you've got it to the place where you think, hey, this is good to start a version 1, you go build an MVP in Salesforce. You get that MVP spun up as fast as you can, and then you record going through that process, how long it takes you, and the number of clicks. So once you do it the first time, it may take more clicks, and you have to go back and iterate through it and say, all right, we're going to change this. We're going to add another LWC. We're going to do different things to lower the number of clicks. Once you get it to where you're happy, then we use that, we deploy it, and then we do another video and count the clicks and make sure that it's actually changing and helping the customer.
Another thing that we've seen successful, we've done with customers, is they will literally go to their sales team and print out like screenshots of, okay, here's our screen for an opportunity or a custom object, whatever it may be. I want you guys to mark up what you think is not needed, what feels like double entry, what's clunky, that type of thing, right on these pages, right where you can see it. We're gonna take them all up together and we're gonna review them. And then we're gonna make decisions around, okay, here's where we can reduce a click, remove a field, use dynamic forms, that type of thing. It gets the sales team or service team involved as well, which is important because a lot of times we're working with maybe executives or leadership who aren't the ones actually in there doing the clicks and frustrated, right? So they're hearing it secondhand and they make some decisions opposed to actually working with the team and getting it updated. So that architecture process from the beginning before just jumping in there and starting to do stuff is really important. Right. It's the whole measure twice, cut once mantra. So getting information from multiple people, mapping it out, making a decision before you then go actually build it and test it is a great place to start.
100%.
All right, thanks for hanging in with us. We'll be back soon for episode 3. Keep submitting those questions. We really appreciate it. We'll ride again soon.